When are we gonna get new TV shows, new movies, new ideas? When are we gonna stop the nostalgia gravy train? Like, seriously. A lot of people keep talking about the Good Times reboot, and I'm not even gonna say a lot about it because, one, it's not Good Times. That man, Seth MacFarlane, slapped the Good Times title on that show and put in a talking baby and just went to town. But why? Where are the new ideas? Where are the creatives? Where are the people with pen and paper? Where are they? Because I could think of about 10 ideas. I got 10 ideas right now, actually. I got one really good one on TikTok. And they're like, no. I know I'm not the only one who's tired of watching the same 10 shows in a different font. We don't need a reboot of everything. We actually just want new, fresh ideas. And then when y'all get a new, fresh idea, you're like, let's cancel it. How does that work? Where are the thinkers, the writers, the doers? They need to be in the room, in the studio, in the seat, in the chair, in front of the laptop, typing.
Hollywood, I'm begging you. Can we please, for the love of God, come up with new shit? All these reboots, we get it. You're greedy. We fucking get it. Not only do we just need to stop, but also, really, Twilight? That's the one we're gonna remake. Twilight was so bad, it was good. I don't know how to explain that, but you get what I'm saying if you've seen it. We can't make that happen again. We just can't. I genuinely don't think my last 3 fragile brain cells could handle this reboot, because we're gonna do that bullshit that every reboot does. It's like, let's PC this pussy up a little bit. You know what'll really sell this movie? A monologue about female equality. Oh, and a sassy gay black kid, because that's what the Gen Z wants.
Genuine question, why do all the cartoons these days look like they're on Ozempic? You know? Like all the life and just sucked out of them, you know? Because I just seen a clip of the new Backyardigans, and that looks atrocious. It looks a mess. In addition to that, Dora too. Y'all brought back Dora. You should have left it where it was. Just let her be grown up. Let her grow up. You don't got to bring her back.
Is it just me, or is anyone else tired of this reboot, remake era that Hollywood's in? Like, I am so bored. I'm very bored. I just feel like previous decades, like the 90s, the 2000s, even the 2010s had such original content. Now everything just feels repetitive. It feels so redundant.
Is it just me, or are the things that used to be enjoyable, creative, and fun no longer enjoyable anymore? Like, every single thing just seems like it's changed so drastically. Netflix doesn't feel the same. The shows on all these streaming apps are no longer exciting to watch. You look at the old shows, the old cartoons, Disney Channel is no longer what it used to be. Disney shows are no longer what it used to be. Disney movies, everything is just changing, you know? And, you have so many different reboots. You have so many different remasters for video games. Every movie that you see has some kind of woke ideology to it. It's just, I don't know if I'm just boring or I'm just getting older or something, because I'm only 27, but I don't know what's going on. It's like nothing keeps my interest anymore. It's like nothing holds me, and I don't know why. Like, does anyone else feel like this, or is it just me? Because I gotta know. This is weird to me.
Are people actually tired of reboots, remakes, sequels, IP? Because I know we say that a lot, but the way that the general public tells studios what they want is by using their wallet, right? Even though we've seen some really big budget franchise films underperforming, like Marvel, for example, or Furiosa, we also see countless films based on IP that perform very, very well. Like Inside Out 2, $1.4 billion worldwide that movie has raked in. Now, the money tells the studios what the public wants them to do. So Inside Out 3, yeah, that's happening. And look, don't get me wrong, as a screenwriter, I want nothing more than original films to be made. I think there's so many incredible original scripts that go out every single day, but they're not getting made. But I do think it's important for people to realize, right, that it's all about the money. Literally, that's it. And inevitably, when you see news that a sequel is going to come out, or Inside Out Part 3, there's going to be a viral tweet that's like, who asked for this? No one asked for this. We didn't want this. Except you did.
Hey everyone, everyone, it's Brie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back in another video, and I am here to talk about all of these reboots, these revivals, all of this recycled content that we keep getting. But before I hop into that topic, I wanted to mention the necklace that I am wearing from Ana Luisa. If you guys are interested in getting the chain that I am wearing, make sure you guys check out the link in my bio. And also, I am wearing a shirt from my clothing brand. This is a SZA shirt that I designed myself from scratch. So if you guys are interested, I also have other celebrity designs on my store as well. I have Tupac, Biggie, Megan Thee Stallion, and J. Cole, I believe, as well as a few others. So if you guys are interested in this style, make sure you guys check out my clothing brand, which is always linked in the merch shelf on my YouTube channel as well as in the top pinned comment. So back to this particular topic, because honestly, I know I'm not the only one that is sick. Sick and tired of all of these reboots. I feel like every single month a reboot or a revival or, you know, the 5th installment of a movie is being announced. And I really wanted to come on here and discuss my thoughts on it, because I feel like as a collective, people are wanting new material. They're tired of getting the same thing regurgitated to them, just slightly differently or with different characters, or, you know, whatever the case may be. I think people are really wanting original stories. And, you know, I just talked about that in the Tyler Perry video that I just made, which I was not expecting that video to go viral. It's so funny. The videos that go viral on my channel are always the ones that I don't anticipate go viral. But people had a lot to say about Tyler Perry. But, you know, we were talking about on that video about how Tyler Perry, you know, he doesn't really have a lot of original storytelling in his films as of lately. And you're seeing that across Hollywood. Because I saw a few people too saying like, oh, you're going to say that about, you know, these bigger Hollywood studios. Yes, this is what this entire video is about. It's about the fact that I am kind of sick and tired of this era that we're in, where people are kind of just profiting off of that nostalgia feel. And although, listen, as someone that loves the feeling of nostalgia, as someone that in the midst of adulting and feeling like my life is in shambles, I'm not gonna lie, there are times where I might watch a show that I used to watch years ago just to kind of get that feeling back. But with that being said, though, I don't think that these studios should be relying so heavily on, you know, what's worked in the past. I think there needs to be more risk that's taken, you know, in that industry. And, you know, we're seeing it across the board. We're seeing it with TV shows, we're seeing it with movies. And I think even with that, it's like slightly different, because when it comes to movies, I don't mind a sequel, and like I don't mind like 3-part movie series. You know, as someone that grew up watching, you know, High School Musical and the Cheetah Girls, you know, you have like the Marvel movies, you have like the Spider-Man trilogy, like you have a lot of great franchises that do the whole, like, you know, at least 3, right? I think Frozen I don't know if Frozen came out with the 3rd movie, or they're about to come out with the 3rd movie, but there's certain movies, right? You know, Friday After Next, there's a few, right? There's a few, you know, both in the adult space and the children's entertainment space, where, you know, those type of things are fine, and that works, right? But I do think there's a level of overdoing it, right, when it comes to those certain things. The Fast and the Furious is a prime example of that. Even though there are people that are diehard fans of the Fast and Furious, they never get tired of it. They are going to be there, front row seats, every time a Fast and the Furious movie drops. You still have a lot of people though that are like, okay, y'all, like, why are we still going with this? Can we wrap this up? You know, there are just some things that tend to overstay their welcome. And even with the release of Bad Boys 4, you know, people were really excited about that. But, you know, you get to a point where you're looking around and you're seeing all these movies and all these TV shows, and they're basically just the same things, right? They're the same movies we've been watching since we were younger, the same shows we were watching. They're just kind of revamping them like from the past. And I don't know how to feel about that, because I think I feel like I saw a spark or an increase of it during the pandemic. And that's not to say that it only just started happening in the past couple of years. Throughout the years, there have always been revivals and revamps. But as of the past like 2, 3, 4 years, I want to say, it's been like heavy reboots and heavy revivals. And again, it goes all across the board, from movies to TV shows to content for adults to content for kids. Literally on the adult side, I can think of a few that come to mind. The Good Times revival, the animated series. They're also doing an animated series of Everybody Hates Chris that they just announced. For those of y'all who watched that 70s show, they came out with that 90s show. And then on the kids side, right, you have the Fairly Odd Parents just came out with their revival. Dora the Explorer, they milking SpongeBob till till they can't no more. SpongeBob has just been, exhausted all over the place. And don't get me wrong, I love SpongeBob, grew up off of SpongeBob. I also love seeing SpongeBob in other realms outside of just, Nickelodeon. Like when they had SpongeBob hosting the Super Bowl, like that was really funny. Like I do enjoy those things, but again, like they've kind of been changing like the art style of SpongeBob for like their recent movies. They recently came out with a movie for Sandy Cheeks, and I'm like, why does Sandy need a movie all of a sudden? You have iCarly. iCarly had came back. You had that Zoe 102 movie from Zoe 101. Like you're having all of these reboots, and although there's that initial excitement of like, oh my god, like I grew up off of this, like I'm curious to see how it would look now. But there's something to be said about not wanting to mess up what they've established, right? Like there are certain shows growing up that were phenomenal, and you don't ever want to mess it up. And I think that's the biggest thing is with these revivals and reboots. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to like taint my image of the show that I love. Like, please don't bring it back and ruin it. And in some cases, people have been able to bring stuff back. Even That's So Raven. That's So Raven turned into Raven's Home. And although some of those shows ended up still being really great, at the end of the day, it still doesn't hold up to the original. A lot of them don't hold up to the original. And then you have ones that performed really bad. I know the Good Times revival did not get good reviews. I also tried to watch the first episode of the Good Times revival, the animated Good Times. It was bad. Like the stereotypes were on 1,000. Like I literally could not finish the first episode. Like it was so bad. So I'm not completely against them if they're done correctly, but I do think there needs to be some more, creativity out there. And I keep wondering, because I'm like, there's too many people out here in the world, and there's too many talented people out there in the world for there to not be original stories that can be told. And I kept thinking, I'm like, why? Like, I refuse to believe that there's a lack of creative stories out there to be told. So why are they not being told? Why do they just keep reverting to what worked in the past? Why do they keep going back to these old shows and old movies? And I started to do some conspiracy theories. So again, this is all speculation. Nothing is confirmed. I don't know nobody in the industry or nothing like that. But I do wonder if there is some sort of monopoly or some type of control that certain writers have. Like, I wonder, are there writers that have certain deals with certain studios where maybe they're locked into a contract where for the next X amount of years, the studio is like only allowed to produce content that's written by them? Like, are there some type of deals that are happening behind the scenes that we don't know about? Because otherwise, I don't understand why these big studios with these big budgets can't seek out talented writers. Like, I'm not understanding it. And yeah, there's a level of corporate greed that goes into it where it's like, they don't want to hire and pay writers fairly. There's been a lot of writers, especially amid the whole SAG after strike and them trying to get, paid their worth. There's been a lot of talk of these big corporations and studios not paying writers their worth. Not even just in the movie and TV space, but then also with artists, right? Like, you have musical artists who have hit songs, and some of the writers behind those songs are not getting paid what they should be getting paid, and the artist is getting paid way more than what the writer is making, even though the writer is literally the one that created the song, right? So there's a lot of issues with that, with people not being paid their worth. There even could be a thing of people are pitching their stories out, to these studios, but then maybe the studios are offering them contracts that are just very grimy and again don't reflect their worth, and so they walk away from it. We are in some really crazy times right now where a lot of companies and businesses are cutting corners, they're getting lazy, and instead of paying people their worth and looking for a solid team of people to help them with stuff, they're trying to look for any way to get around that. That's why there's so much talk about AI and implementing some legislation around AI, because they literally are trying to replace creativity with AI, which is a crazy thing to think about. Like, I knew AI was like a thing that was gonna happen at some point, but I didn't anticipate, like, because I'm sure all of us have heard, whether it's again in movies and entertainment or just among the conspiracy theorists out there, people have said from the beginning of time that one day robots are going to take over. But I think a lot of us were thinking like actual robots, which they are working on those, by the way. There's actually like stuff out there where people are actually working on like humanoid robots. But even in this whole like AI thing, AI is being trained to replicate a human, and it's really scary out there for creatives, because if a studio can figure out a way to create content that's still marketable and that people will still invest in without having to actually hire a human being, they are 100% gonna go that route. And that's why I think there needs to be protections in place for that, because I'm sorry, like, and granted, we don't know what AI is gonna look like years and years and years from now, but I just feel like you cannot replace true creativity with AI or a robot. Like, I feel like you still have to have some type of human element, but I feel like they're trying their best to get rid of it. I mean, we literally have even seen some AI artists, like some of these labels are trying to create music art, like rappers and singers that are literally AI generated. They're not real, they're completely made up, but they're still making a profit off of them making music because it's all AI generated. I think there's a lot of that happening behind the scenes. They're kind of testing it out, seeing if people are falling for it or if they're buying into it.
If AI rappers are going to be the new thing in rap and hip hop, please feel free to count me out, because this is FN Mecca, an AI rapper, meaning a fake robot created by a record label in order to sell records. Now, although this doesn't sound that different from the people that we see signed to labels, here's where it gets weird. The AI was dropped from the label a few days after being signed because people were criticizing the AI's use of the N-word. Considering it's not a human and not even depicted as black, the criticism is warranted. But because what's weird to me is not only does this destroy the legacy of rap, because there is no authenticity, there is no rhythm, there is no poetry in any of this. It's quite literally digital blackface, and it tells me what the labels think of us being rappers as artists. They don't. The hair, the gold teeth, the piercings, the tattoos, the big obnoxious chain, this is what they think rap is. You have this white face making a caricature of things that are so interpersonal to black culture. Even going so far as to depicting the AI facing... Exactly. And then when you have hip-hop giants like Snoop Dogg and Eminem co-signing this realm of artificial intelligence rap by putting on an NFT performance, it feels like labels and the entertainment industry are constantly trying to find a way to dictate, destroy, break down the one genre that is predominantly black and turn it to something that they can further capitalize on as if they haven't already, without giving us the credit. Because why don't you guys go do a Dua Lipa NFT? Miley Cyrus, Adele, anybody. Why does it always have to be us?
This is Michaela, an AI-generated Instagram influencer with over 3 million followers. She currently charges over $8,000 per post. AI is opening the door to some crazy situations online, especially on social media. To me, AI-generated influencers is crossing a line into territory that's just outright bad for mental health. The whole thing reminds me of the Black Mirror episode where they create an artificial persona that ends up becoming a politician. This profile is owned by a company that's open about it being fictional, but not all personas are going to follow suit. What concerns do you have over fake profiles and public figures? Let me know in the comments and follow for more.
And I definitely think it's something that needs to be talked about. And, you know, even just with AI replicating voices, like a lot of voice actors are either having their voices stolen or just certain opportunities are being taken from them because people are like, oh, like, let's have the AI do it. Like, I'll even say for me, like, I worked at a company where I was in charge of, you know, creating ads, and we had an AI program that could speak. And, you know, before with their ads, you know, when they would do the voiceover, they would have an actual person doing the voiceover. But as of recently, they've now turned to using an AI voice to do, you know, their ads. Although I feel like AI voices, they're always going to sound like AI. Like, some of them are kind of believable, but then other times it's like, okay, I could tell you, like, you're not real. But with all that being said, right, I think there's a lot of reasons for why these studios are not investing in true talent. And I think it's really sad. And I don't want it to get worse. And that's why I'm all here for the protests. I'm all here for people pushing for legislation to protect writers and creatives, because all of this, like AI trying to, you know, write stuff for people and recreate art, like, it's gonna get to a certain point where real art is gonna be worth a lot of money, because a lot of the art that you're seeing nowadays is AI, you know. And it's scary times that we're in right now. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just really feel like these studios could do a whole lot better. Like, they have the money, they have the resources. Because I know across the board, a lot of businesses are struggling financially, and people are having to lay folks off, and they're not able to have, like, you know, bigger teams and things like that. So I get it to a certain extent. However, I still think there should be room for new stories. And also, even with TV shows, right, I don't think that TV shows get their just due and a fair shot, right, at doing well. Because you often find that a lot of original TV shows that come out, they get canceled after the first season. They aren't even really given a chance to grow and to flourish. And I understand, like, yes, you're investing in something, and if you're not seeing a return on your investment, you're quick to scrap it and move on to the next. But I feel like a lot of shows back in the day, and again, I'm not saying that shows didn't get scrapped after the first season. A lot of shows get scrapped after the pilot episode, right? But I think that there should be more chances given for shows to grow and for people to catch on. Because I feel like a lot of shows don't get to that, like, peak level of success until, like, their second, third season. Like, I feel like the first season kind of, you know, lays the groundwork, and then it's that second season and that third season that things start to pick up. And so I feel like, you know, these shows aren't really given a lot of, like, breathing room. But I also notice too, a lot of shows nowadays, like, the seasons are very short, or there's a lot of, like, long breaks in between seasons. And yeah, I don't know what that's about. Like, I don't know, something's going on with the entertainment industry. Like, something is up, because it's just, I don't know, the way things are being produced and the way that things are just being put out there, it's just different. But yeah, as I said earlier, I'm not against the reboots, I'm not against the revivals, I'm not against, you know, the sequels and the prequels and everything else, but I feel like there should be more of a balance. And trust me, I know there is stuff out there, right? But you really have to, like, dig deep. I can't remember the last time that a scripted television show got a lot of push from, you know, the media and people talking about it. Like, I can't remember the last time. Maybe Abbott Elementary is the only one that I can think of where people are like, they're tuned in, they're talking about it, is like doing really well numbers wise. That's really the only one that I can think of. And then everything else is like reality TV at this point. And I know we're in an era of streaming and, you know, YouTube videos, and the era of, you know, cable television is pretty much gone. And I know that, you know, on every single streaming platform, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, whatever platform that you watch your content on, if you look hard enough, there actually are some hidden gems in there. But again, they don't really get the push that I feel like they probably deserve. There's a lot of shows I feel like that are out there on streaming platforms that people just don't know about, and I feel like it's because it's not really pushed. I know there's just certain things that get lucky, right? Like I know like with Squid Games, like I don't think Squid Games got a huge media push, but it just so happened that a lot of people started watching it and people started talking about it, and then because of word of mouth via social media, it blew up and now they're getting another season, as they should, you know? But you know, I do wish that there was more, like, I guess, like push in like advertising towards new content, because people even talk about like Zeus Network, right? People talk about how the Zeus Network, like all they have is like, you know, baddies and Jocelyn's Cabaret and Bad Boys and all these toxic shows. But if you were to actually go on the Zeus app, they have other shows, but they don't push them. They don't push them and they don't promote them. They don't promote the positivity that's on their app. They push the toxic stuff because, I mean, that is what people are watching, but also a lot of people aren't even aware that Zeus has other programming. A lot of people don't even know that these platforms have other shows. Even with Netflix, I feel like people go on Netflix to watch reruns of old shows. They don't even really go on there to watch new stuff unless it's a reality TV show like Love is Blind and, you know, all those other type of shows. So yeah, I don't know. And I know there was a point in time where we were getting less content because of the strikes. You know, there were a lot of writers and actors and producers that were under SAG-AFTRA that couldn't take any work. And I remember there being a conversation about there being an increase of reality TV shows to make up for the scripted content, because they couldn't do scripted content until like contracts and things were sorted out, right? And so I do wonder if us now, you know, slowly coming out of that strike era, if we're seeing the effects of that, right? If during that time period people were like, okay, so we can't really create anything new, we can't really work on anything right now, let's try to reboot, let's try to do revivals, let's try to do, you know, an animated series or whatever the case may be. You know, maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much longer we're gonna be in this reboot revival era. I really want to see some new content, because honestly, I spend most of my days watching YouTube pretty much. You know, YouTube. I don't watch Twitch as much as I did before, but you know, I watch content creators a lot because that's where I'm getting a lot of my brand new content, you know? And there's definitely some content out there that, you know, people definitely will like. Like, I don't even think it's a matter of, well, people won't watch it or people aren't gonna like it. Again, Abbott Elementary is doing really well. I know Insecure started as a YouTube series, I believe, and then it transferred over into streaming and people loved Insecure. You know, I'm just thinking about all the shows that people used to really get into. Like, I know there's a show called The Bear. I've never seen it. I believe that's a streaming only type of show, but people really enjoy that. And so there's definitely little hidden gems here and there. I just wish there was more. I just wish that every 5 seconds we were being hit with the, hey, here's a reboot, here's this show from 10 years ago, we're bringing it back. Because again, if you're not gonna do it right, which a lot of the times they don't do it at all, especially if you're not gonna bring back the original characters or the original voices. Like, just like don't even bother. And I know with kids shows is tricky, because a lot of the kids shows that they're bringing back, it was shows that we watched as kids, but we're adults, so we're not the target audience anymore. But it's funny because someone mentioned that a lot of these kids shows, they have like a Coco Melon effect. Like, the way that the shows look in terms of like art style and the way that the shows are formatted, like, is giving Coco Melon. And I can totally see that, especially with, again, the Fairly Odd Parents, or maybe not the Fairly Odd Parents, that one's okay. But the Backyardigans, did y'all see what the Backyardigans is looking like? The Backyardigans is looking rough. And that's the other thing too, a lot of times they will wait until the creator of a show or a movie passes away, and then that studio will try to take full advantage of that, and they try to redo it and reboot it, and then it don't even be, you know, as good as it once was, because you don't have the creator there giving their input, and they're just being money hungry. And I really don't like that either. I think that's what's happening with SpongeBob. I feel like they're doing a lot of stuff with SpongeBob that, I mean, I don't know these people. I don't know these creators, but it's just interesting to see the intense change of direction that comes with the original creator not being there, and you know, seeing like the changes that they implement afterwards. It's very, very interesting, and it tends to not, those changes end up not being received well, because they're just like, this is not how I remember it. But again, we're not kids anymore, it's not for us. So I guess if the kids of today enjoy it and they are able to experience, you know, a new version of what we experienced as kids, you know, I guess that's fine, because you know, it's not up to us. I would say too, if you can find like the original version of those shows to show your kids, I'd do that too. That's why I low-key, high-key haven't gotten rid of my VHS tapes yet, because there was so many great shows that I have growing up that I would love to, you know, if I have a kid in the future, I would love to be able to show them that stuff. Granted, that would require me to find a VHS system, which maybe on someone's eBay I could find it, or I know there's something out there that will turn VHS tapes into physical discs, so I need to look into that. But yeah, like I don't know, the entertainment industry is very weird right now, and I feel like a lot of the creativity is being suppressed by capitalism. It's being suppressed by, you know, people just wanting to make a quick dollar, because they're just like, oh, people will watch this not because it's actually good, but because it reminds them of, you know, back in the day, or because this has a familiar IP, people will immediately go to it. Like I literally have a lot of friends who are into Marvel that complain about the current state of Marvel. Like I have a lot of friends who they literally have watched every single Marvel movie that has been made, and a lot of them have complained that, like, I guess they have like different like generations or different eras. Apologies for my ignorance, I'm not a huge Marvel fan, but there's like different eras of Marvel, I guess, and I guess this new era that they're in, a lot of people don't like it, from what I've been told. They do not like it. Same thing with Star Wars. A lot of my friends and people that I've seen online who are hardcore Star Wars fans, they don't like this new era of Star Wars, like, at all. And I do wonder if it has to do with just the lack of quality of writing that's out there, if it has to do with studios getting lazy. I don't know what's going on, or if it's just a matter of it's time for that chapter to close. You know, it's like, hey, y'all had a good run with this, y'all made some amazing content in this space, but maybe it's just time to let it go. I don't entirely know, but I hope overall, you know, things get better. I hope we do get some new stories, and you know, I just hope to see more original content out there. But yeah, y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on this topic. Are you sick and tired of the reboots and the revivals, or are you loving it? Let me know in the comments down below. And another reminder, if you guys want this necklace that I am wearing, check out the link in my bio, as well as the shirts that I am wearing. Make sure you guys check out the pinned comment or the linked merch shelf on my channel. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video.